Moshi Moshi, secure. Have you ever wanted to go diving deep into the ocean in search for Atlantis? Or do you suffer from thalassophobia and want to make it worse? Then let us descend together into the submarine and make terrible decisions. Barotrauma is a 2D submarine simulation where you and your crewmates have to traverse the depths of Europa and fulfill different tasks, which range from transporting criminals, to killing alien hives, to excavating ship wreckages, and many more. The game can be played in single player with NPCs that are listening to every command you give them, but the main appeal of the game is the multiplayer.
It's not working, he won't breathe.
Just give him CPR. I'm coming down, I have a broken leg, help. You're fine.
But I'm getting ahead of myself. Story. We are in the far future on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. Because the surface is highly radioactive, we only operate underwater, under a deep layer of ice. We just descend deeper and deeper into the ocean and discover new mysteries. There are a few outposts on the way with factions that have their own respective agenda and reputation. You have your United Nations, democratic terrorists, a cult that prays to a parasite, and the children of a hunk mother that are just a gathering of psychopaths. That's enough story. There isn't much more. Gameplay. In Barotrauma you have to choose one of 6 classes with different talents and different intelligence. There are the captain, the engineer, the mechanic, the medic, the security officer and the assistant. And I'm going to talk about every single one of them. But before that, it's also important to point out that every job can improve their skills. The captain. This job is for people who have a crippling nicotine addiction or like to scream at their crewmates for being incompetent while constantly crashing the ship into rocks or ice. Oops, sorry. I'm an asparagus and the moon is just not in my favor today. Hehe. The main task is to pretend that you know what you're doing and to know what's actually happening. The engineer. He repairs the fuse boxes and inserts his rod into the reactor and is primarily responsible for setting the ship on fire because he forgot to regulate the reactor or to put it on automatic. Let's just say the achievement, Nuclear Blast Survivor, exists for a reason. The engineer is also the most autistic one of a bunch because you can, if you got a good understanding of wiring, rewire everything in a submarine and create a new hell for your team. The mechanic. He's responsible for repairing the machinery and hurting himself while doing so, and to repair the leaks that will be caused constantly either by the own crew or by aliens that want to invade your home. Also primarily the crafting guy and the poor soul that has to go out and mine rocks.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
The medic. Helps you cure your morphine addiction, or is the one responsible for it. To which I can relate because I once got a morphine injection myself and since then the world is not the same anymore without it. These responsibilities should be self-explanatory, but in case you live in the United States and can't afford healthcare, the medic is supposed to provide first aid and generally help the crew not to die. In Barotrauma he can also have a role of a scientist, because he can find and enhance genetic material from aliens and inject it into you to create a crossbreed between alien and human. You may be a hideous and deformed abomination, but on the bright side you can breathe on land and underwater. Just don't get your hopes up to ever find someone who will love you. So not that much different before being genetically engineered into a fish human. The security officer, or better known as the sociopath, are officially responsible for keeping the ship safe from threats, both external and internal. But in reality they are the threat in most cases to external and internal living organisms. This job is for people with power fantasies where they can abuse their teammates and harass alien life forms. If you ever wanted to be a prison guard, then you have found your calling. The assistant. And last and maybe least is the assistant, who has, as his name implies, no real job, but just exists to help the team in general, with everyday tasks like cleaning, organizing items, or being abused as a sex slave. However, if the assistant chooses the right talents, he can become an Ubermensch. Now that I mentioned talents, let me talk about them. In case of the assistant, 2 out of his 3 talent trees make him a superior being at the end. The third one makes him a fucking clown. And his ultimate talent in this tree unlocks his true potential and transforms him into the biggest clown there is, me. The talents of the other jobs are all interesting in their own right. For example, the medic, who can choose to go down the path of a scientist and basically become Frankenstein. Or the security officer that can document all of his war crimes for additional money. That's the gist of it. This is not a guide, but a review, so let us continue. Monsters. On your adventure you will encounter several different alien life forms, if you want to or not. They are generally categorized into their size, ranging from very small to very large. One of the most common seen is the crawler, An aggressive fish that hunts in packs, but is fairly easy to deal with. It can become a problem if you encounter a husked crawler instead of a normal one, because you need to be certain that you don't get bitten by it and get a husk infection, otherwise it's time for you to say goodbye to your crewmates.
I have husk infection. It's gone now.
Well, time to try out the new gun. Do not bring
Oh my god! He's melted!
And if you dare to activate a beacon, they will interpret it like a personal invitation to gang up on you. It's like if you start playing Caramel Dancing at an anime convention and a swarm of degenerates starts approaching you. Then you have your basic mud raptors that love to breach through your wall and invade your private space. If you don't manage to kill them while they approach your submarine, it's highly likely that they will let themselves in and try to tell you where raptors were the superior dinosaurs back in the good old days when there were no humans around. Ah, good times. But there are also some real cosmic horrors that lurk deep down in the abyss, that give you a heart attack each time they attack you. Atmosphere. All jokes aside, if you want the game to be pretty intense, it can be. You and your crewmates are trapped in a steel cage, several kilometers underwater, and you only hear a radar. Suddenly you hear some other noises, and the tension is building up. You don't know what is around you. You only hear the hull creaking as you descend deeper into the unknown depths, and you wonder to yourself, what the hell is my crewmate planning to do with all the C4 that he plants right next to the oxygen generator? The sound design in this game is also quite good. All the environment sounds and the creature noises are fitting and sound convincing. The music also doesn't disappoint for this kind of game. It enhances the atmosphere. Community. The community for this game is really nice. You have your tryhards that play only with serious roleplay, where you need to act like you're on a submarine for real and have to listen to some random dude's orders. Or you have the casual servers where you just try to complete the campaign or different missions and have fun along the way. A big portion of the player base is Russian, which is understandable because they like games where you constantly have to suffer from either your environment or from your crewmates. It reminds them of simpler times when men used to be encapsulated in closed metal container for several weeks underwater without seeing the sun once. And thanks to them, I learned several new phrases like Pomogите, my tonim. This game also has modding, which can lead to either pretty interesting total conversions and additions to the main game, or to completely cursed games that still haunt my memory to this day.
Hey, come check this out. Hey, come check this out.
Alright, I see the problem. I don't think you can just close it up.
This way. Wait, hold space, hold space, hold space. Sigma, hold space.
Nothing.
Meow.
What the fuck is going
Thank
on?
you.
Shit.
Much appreciated.
Oh wait, no, they're all out. They're all out. Yes, welcome to hell.
Don't you have any
Like I
fuel
said.
left? Like any at all?
No.
Guys, a small problem. We have no oxygen left.
Oh, no oxygen, no oxygen, no oxygen. Fuck.
Oh, that's a you guys' problem now.
H, is this the
That's
end?
you guys' problem now.
No, it's not yet.
It's you guys' problem now.
Is this the end?
I don't
your
get
We
Is
can
this
still
the
make it.
end?
You cannot
I
don't have a
I will
connection.
fight.
Okay, we need an oxygen tank for this thing to work out, and I got this.
I will fight everyone.
There we go, there we go.
Is
We
this
need
the
The
end?
fucking
oil.
engine
We
is
need
burning.
oil. We need oil. Someone bring oil. Someone bring oil.
Andrew, is this the
Shut the fuck up, you.
We need oil filter as well. We need an oil filter as well.
How about all you guys?
I don't know what just happened,
What the
but
fuck just happened?
something went wrong, and I broke several bones.
This motherfucker do be making plans all the time, and like I don't see anything happening.
It's just about making plans, not executing them.
It just makes it.
But don't worry.
But if you ask me if you already played the campaign once, it's more fun that way. Also, there is a submarine creator. If you are compelled to spend several hours of your life to build a submarine that isn't functioning or so fucking bad designed that if anybody sees your sub, he instantly leaves the server. You have to be a special kind of artist to enjoy suffering through the steep learning curve of the creator. But that's just scratching the surface of the game. If you want to suffer a lot and work with sociopaths, then try it out for yourself. Or if you want the same experience, but not in a submarine but in a real world, become a politician. Highly recommended. Just be ready to maybe invest an hour or two to get into this game. It's not one of those casual games like Among Us where you just can pick it up and play thoughtless. That is a lie. I did exactly that and had a blast. I guess trial by fire. The game gets a score of "We are sinking" out of thalassophobia. And with these words, I hope you like this video and have a nice day. Goodbye!